Gemma entered a haunted house to take pictures. But suddenly, someone closed the door and locked her inside. She spent the whole day in total darkness. Then, the lights turned on, and a creepy clown appeared in front of her. "There's a game I want to play with you," he said. The clown offered Gemma 3 bowls of soup. 2 of them are poisoned and 1 is safe. If she chooses the safe one, the clown will set her free. Can you help Gemma to make a wise choice? Ingredients in the first soup look like pills. The second soup contains suspicious blue carrots. Probably these are not safe, therefore the green one is safe. Can you find a hidden number in this picture? That's right, it's 9175. Can you find a hidden number in this picture? That's right, it's 341. But I'm sure you'll manage to spot a hidden number in this picture. Well done, it's 900. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot the owner of this dog? The red-haired lady is the owner of the dog. Take a look at the dog's collar. It has a picture of the owner. Paul worked in a large company. He left the office to have lunch one day, but he didn't find his car in the parking lot. He immediately called the police. The police soon found the car and started to chase the criminal. But the criminal left the car and ran to the park. The police caught 3 suspects. Jill said she was jogging in the park. Peter was waiting for his girlfriend, and Amy was walking and enjoying nature. Who stole the car? Amy. Although she was enjoying nature, she had the same key that had gone missing. Can you find a hidden dice among all these pieces of cheese? It's over here. Although it looks like cheese, you better watch your teeth. Take a look at this pattern. Can you spot an odd detail? This bunch has more grapes than the others. Let's dive into the water for a while. The bottom of the ocean is full of life, but can you see any fish? It's hiding over here. Here's an eye challenge to read a blurred quote. Can you see this phrase? It says, "Well done is better than well said." Can you spot a panda and a soccer ball among all these snowmen? The ball is over here, and the panda is hiding in the right corner. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you see anything dangerous in this picture? A snake is hiding in the bushes. One morning, Dan went to work as usual. He was a professional athlete and had a lot of awards. When he got back home, he found out that his most valuable trophy was gone. His gold medal was stolen. He called the police to report the missing medal. The detective interrogated Bob's neighbor and found 4 suspects: Rick, Tom, Sarah, and Molly. Each neighbor was carrying a house plan. Who robbed Dan? It was Sarah. Look, the house plan matches his house perfectly. Josh ordered some delicious sushi for a picnic outdoors. Look at the picture carefully. Can you spot any odd components in this meal? There's a green caterpillar in here. See? It probably fell from a tree. I wouldn't recommend eating that anyway. Someone painted the entire playground in the park with graffiti. The police questioned 3 suspects. The detective didn't tell them what he had suspected them of. He asked one simple question. "What are you doing in this park?" Robert said he was going to the birthday of his friend who lives near the park. Rick was looking for his missing dog who had run away this morning. And Derek was just having lunch in the park. He didn't see any graffiti artists. Who is suspicious? Derek. The detective didn't say anything about the graffiti, but Derek already started defending himself. Can you find the hidden gold coin? It's over here in the left corner. Look at this pattern very attentively. Can you spot anything odd? Someone has bitten this banana. Can you find the right shadow? The correct answer is D. Can you see any numbers on this picture? The correct answer is 1479. Look at these ladies. They all look nice, but the one you choose will tell you something about your personality. If you choose the first lady, you're very friendly and easygoing. Some people may think you're too naive, but you're just a very sensitive and curious person who sees life as an adventure. If you chose the second lady, you're a very loyal and passionate person. When you're in love, you become invincible. If you chose the third lady, it means you love to have fun and nothing can confuse you or make you feel down. Take a look at this picture. Can you spot a person who's in the safest position? The guy in the car is the safest. What number do you see in this picture puzzle? Number 517. Ryan wants to get a job at the museum. He successfully passed the interview, but his employer gave him a final test. Help Ryan determine which portrait is antique. This guy is wearing a fitness tracker, so he's probably not from the Middle Ages. The lady looks very authentic, but take a look at this lamp. Therefore, the portrait of this mysterious old man is original. Good job, Ryan, you're hired. Can you spot a penguin among the toucans? This guy over here. Jack and Jill just moved into a new house. While they were unpacking their boxes, the doorbell rang. They opened the door and saw 3 neighbors standing on the porch. Kitty brought cupcakes, Mrs. Green brought soup, and Amber brought an apple pie. Help Jill and Jack identify the safe neighbor. Kitty's cupcakes contain cockroaches. Amber's cake seems to have some pills hidden in the apples. Therefore, Mrs. Green with her strange soup is the most harmless neighbor. Can you find... Time is up. It's over here. Tina was preparing a birthday dinner in the kitchen. An hour later, her friend found her unconscious on the floor. She called the ambulance and the police arrived to question witnesses. The detective discovered 3 clues: 1 sneaker, 1 glove, and 1 slipper. Then he asked the witnesses to describe what they were doing while Tina was preparing the dinner. Soon, the detective found out who poisoned Tina. How did he know? Tina left a left shoe, left glove, and left slipper. She was trying to show that the poisoner was left-handed. What's wrong with this picture? If you saw a raccoon walking on 2 legs first, you're probably a very intelligent and strong-willed person. Friends can always count on your loyalty. If you promise something, you'll never break your word. If you spotted 2 suns first, you're a very calm and open-minded person. You prefer to avoid drama and unnecessary attention. But people come to you for advice and support because you view this world as a whole, and your opinions are sage and impartial. If you noticed a tree blooming in the middle of winter, it means that you're a very romantic and sentimental person. You feel the beauty of this world very intensely, and you need an environment that will nourish your soul and appreciate your uniqueness. With this kind of support, you can easily make this world a better place.
Here we go. Stella is a cleaning lady in a 3-story business center. Late in the evening, she finishes cleaning the big boss's office. Stella is the last person in the entire building, so she locks the doors and goes home. The next morning, the boss calls her and yells, "Someone wrote scammer on the wall near his desk with blue paint." The boss questions 3 suspects. The guard said, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I left earlier and asked Stella to lock all the doors with her keys." The manager says, "This paint was supposed to be used for the basement. I guess someone had stolen the paint from the storage room. As for me, I've spent the evening with my family, and they can confirm my words." And the local interior decorator says, "Yesterday, I was working from home." So, who's guilty? The guard. Take a look at his shoes. He left some footprints on the floor, and they look identical to the paint footprints left in the boss's office. Kyle and Amy are having dinner at a restaurant. Can you spot what's wrong here? She has 2 forks. You're in a land where 30 men and 2 women are dressed in conservative black and white outfits. They begin to fight as soon as any of them moves. Can you guess where you are? You're on a chessboard. Welcome to the food market. There's a zombie hiding somewhere here. Can you see him? Over here. Can you help the police spot a bank robber in this amusement park? Hello. Let's take a look at all of these emojis. Can you find any food? There's shrimp over here. What about this collection? Can you see anything edible? There are 2 options, actually. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is. Next set. Can you see a human among these emojis? Hello. I bet you can find a body part in this variety. This nose over here. Can you see any flowers among all these emojis? There are two flowers actually, here and here. Can you spot what's wrong here? The reflection doesn't match reality. Can you see anything odd here? This lady doesn't have any reflection. Wicked witch kidnaps young women in the town. The police had been tracking her for 6 months, and finally they detected her hideout uptown. They break in and find 3 young ladies with their hands tied. The police questions all women. Sally says, "I've been here for a month or so. I'm so glad you found us." Bella says, "This witch only gave us some bread. We were starving." And Rosie says, "I've spent a month in the darkness. I thought I'd never see the daylight again." The police know at once that one of them is the witch. Can you guess who? Sally. If she had been there for a month, her nails would grow and the nail polish would peel. George works in a museum as an appraisal expert. One day, a stranger brings him 3 antique Japanese vases. He says, "They're precious. These vases were passed down in my family from generation to generation. They're worth millions, but I would like to sell them to your museum at a huge discount so that everyone can admire them." George examines the vases and finds out that only one of them isn't fake. Can you guess which one? The first piece looks pretty ancient, but why would an ancient Japanese vase have English letters as part of its decoration? The third vase depicts an elegant lady in a traditional costume who's holding a smartphone? Therefore, only the second vase is original. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any gadgets? There are 2 options, actually. Can you find a body part in this variety? This palm over here. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is! Next set. Can you see any animals among these emojis? There are 3 animals here. Can you find any plants among all these emojis? Hello! A powerful wizard kidnaps Kyle's wife. There are 3 tunnels leading to the dungeon where she's imprisoned. A mother bear is cuddling her cubs inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with hungry wolves who haven't been eating for a year. And a fire-breathing dragon is sleeping inside the third tunnel. It can wake up at any moment and burn anyone who dares to enter. Which way is more or less safe? The second path is the safest. Wolves won't survive without food for so long, which means they're not dangerous or breathing. Let's go ahead and see if you can find an outfit among these emojis. It's over here. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Ka-ching! Can you find a shoe in this set? There it is. Next set. Can you see any desserts among these emojis? Piece of cake. Literally. Ms. Smith is a rich old lady. Today she's furious because she's found out that her son is having a secret relationship with one of her staff members. 3 women are working in Miss Smith's mansion. The house cleaner, who has just married their driver, they have a huge debt. The babysitter, who's very poor and brings up 5 siblings. And the gardener, who is a university student. She's not very serious and loves partying. Can you guess who's the secret girlfriend? It's the babysitter. Where did she get money for this jewelry? Billy has lost his cat. Can you help him find it? It's hiding behind this lady. Alex wakes up in a creepy quest room. There are 3 doors, but touching their doorknobs is unsafe. The first one is under high voltage, fatal to humans. The second one is red-hot iron that will burn your hand. And the third one is covered with poison, which is fatal for all beings when injected. Which doorknob should Alex turn to escape? The third one. The poison is only dangerous when injected. Paul leaves his workplace to wash his hands before lunch. He returns to his desk and finds out that someone had eaten his turkey sandwich. Paul checks the crime scene and questions 3 suspects among his co-workers. Mary says, "I've been talking to the manager in his office when the robbery was taking place." Liam says, "I don't need your sandwich, bro. I'm a vegetarian." And Wendy says, "I've been having a conference call in the lobby. I wasn't looking at your desk." Who's lying? Liam. There's a sandwich on his desk. Take a closer look at the package. It says chicken. Therefore, he's not a vegetarian. Can you find any fish among all these emojis? Hello! Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Jackpot! Emma takes part in a beauty pageant. She arrives at the auditorium early, gets ready, and has lunch at the local cafeteria because she hasn't been eating or drinking all day. Before going to the stage, Emma faints.
Oh, no.
The doctors find out that someone had poisoned her. The police check all food and drinks at the cafeteria and find no poison. They interrogate 4 witnesses. The cook says, "I only served allergy-friendly snacks and drinks." The contest manager says all the models had been eating and drinking the same food, but Emma was the only one who got poisoned. She must have eaten something wrong at home. The rival beauty pageant contestant says, "I've done all the preparations at home, so I've just arrived." And the makeup artist says, "I was too busy with my duties, so I haven't even entered the cafeteria." Can you guess who poisoned Emma? The makeup artist. Lipstick was the only thing that touched Emma's mouth that day, apart from the cafeteria food.
Parents helped 3 friends, Brian, Aaron, and Henry, pack for their first day of school. Take a look at the guys. Whose parent is the most inattentive? Henry is holding a lunchbox full of delicious homemade food. Brian's textbook has a post-it note, "Love Mom," on it. He probably has a caring mother. And Aaron is wearing a t-shirt over his jacket. Plus, his socks are different and untidy. It's unlikely that an attentive parent would have let him go out like this. Gemma woke up in a mysterious castle. She walked around the building searching for an exit. Soon, the girl got exhausted and hungry. That's when Gemma found the kitchen. She noticed 4 dishes on the table. They looked great, but she wasn't sure if it was safe to eat them. Help Gemma to determine which food is safe. Take a closer look at the soup. Can you see human eyes in it? The steak has poison on it. There are spiders in the burgers. But the pasta looks pretty harmless. Rob and Jessica celebrated their honeymoon on a luxurious cruise liner. But suddenly, the weather changed and the ship got in a terrible storm. After the storm, Rob found his wife unconscious in their cabin. The safe was open, all their money and jewelry were gone. Jessica told Rob that she'd hit her head during the storm and passed out. Rob investigated this crime along with the ship's staff. They found 3 suspects. Alex claimed that during the storm, he'd stayed in his bathroom because he'd been feeling very sick. Eric was lifting a barbell in the gym. He was a professional bodybuilder. And Tom said he'd been sleeping. Rob knew that for sure 2 people had lied to him. Who exactly? Eric couldn't have been lifting a barbell during the storm. And if you take a closer look at Jessica, you'll see that her pockets are filled with jewelry and bills. This means they're both involved in the scam. 3 clocks are hanging on the wall, but only one of them is trustworthy. Which one? There's a spider web on the hands of the first clock. It means they haven't moved for a long time. The time this clock shows can't be correct. The second clock has some of its numbers positioned in the wrong order. 12 and 9 are mixed up, but the third clock looks trustworthy. Kelly invited her besties over to have a pajama party, but one of the people in the room is a thief. Who? The thief is hiding under the bed. Professor Harold left his office at about 9 p.m. He got caught in heavy rain on the way home. It was raining all night, and the next morning, Professor Harold was late for work because of traffic jams. When he finally arrived at his office, he found that someone had broken the lock and covered all the walls with graffiti. The man interrogated 4 suspects who had recently failed his test. Jenny said she'd done yoga and gone to bed early. Rick was in the gym all evening. Lily was hanging out with her boyfriend in the park, gazing at stars. And Vicky worked the night shift at the movie theater. Who's lying? It's Lily. It was raining all night and she couldn't be watching stars in the park. Look at the picture. Can you find the odd flower? It's this little one in the left corner. 4 beauty pageant finalists were preparing for their last performance.
Oh no!
Suddenly, Helen discovered that someone had ruined her evening gown. Helen questioned the other girls. Courtney said she'd been having her makeup done. The stylist could confirm that. Jennifer was too busy talking to the reporters, and Kelly was taking pictures for her Instagram. Who ruined Helen's outfit? It was Jennifer. Take a look at her hair. She's hiding scissors. Parents went to the country and left their son Jim and their dog Chuck alone for one evening. It was Friday night, and Jim decided to throw a party. He invited 3 of his friends. When they came over, Chuck began to bark at the guests. So Jim locked the dog in his parents' bedroom. Half an hour later, Jim decided to visit the pet, but when he opened the door, he discovered the dog was gone, even though all the windows were closed. Jim questioned his guests. Rob had been playing video games. Nora had been recording a TikTok dance in the living room. And Dan had been making snacks in the kitchen together with Jim. Who stole the dog? Jim's parents pranked him. See? They're hiding in the bushes, and the dog is with them. Take a look at the picture. Can you spot a thief? He's hiding behind this tree. Look at these monkeys. 3 of them are different from the others. Can you see them? This monkey is holding its baby, this one hiding a banana, and this monkey is looking in the opposite direction. Nurse Zoe received an anonymous message claiming that a vampire had broken into the hospital. While inspecting the wards, Zoe ran into 3 people in the hallway: Jules, Sam, and Debbie. Help Zoe figure out which of them is the real vampire. Debbie has red lipstick all over her face because she came over to visit her boyfriend, Sam. Look, they're secretly holding hands. Sam also has traces of Debbie's red lipstick on his face and neck. And Jules is carrying a huge backpack with a red stain. She must have stolen some donated blood. Look at the picture. Who will manage to escape the prison? The first prisoner. The lock is already open in this ward, and the second prisoner has yet to pick the lock. Look at these women attentively. There's a thief among them. Can you identify the criminal? It's the third woman. She's holding the phone that belongs to the fourth lady. Her portrait is printed on the phone case. Nancy has been dreaming of visiting an exhibition of her favorite artist for ages. When the exhibition finally arrived in her town, Nancy called 3 of her friends to invite them to go with her, but they all refused. Wendy said she was going to a concert and had already bought the tickets. Shannon said she was sick and didn't want to leave home. And Vicky had to take her sister to a dance class. Nancy got upset and decided to put off her visit to the museum until the next day. After a couple of hours, Nancy looked through her friend's social media and got very angry. One of her friends lied to her. Who was the liar? It was Shannon. She's in Wendy's picture from the concert. In the morning, Dr. Jill arrived at the hospital and went to the ward to meet new patients. When Jill saw them, she understood immediately that one of the patients was fake. Which one? It's the first patient. The hair color of the woman in the photo is different from hers. Detective Daniel was asked to come to a hotel. Someone had robbed the most expensive room there. The detective checked the footage from the security cameras, but didn't see anything suspicious. He questioned the hotel guests. Karen showed him a theater ticket and said she'd visited the opera the evening before. Jane was very tired, so she went home and fell asleep. Harold spent his evening by the swimming pool and didn't notice anything suspicious. Can you help Detective Daniel to identify the robber? Jane was a hotel guest. Why would she go home to sleep? It was Halloween night, and Joy was preparing her house for a party. Suddenly, a group of people in scary costumes rang Joy's doorbell and shouted, "Trick or treat!" Joy went to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and found out that all sweets prepared for unexpected guests had disappeared. She called her 3 sisters and questioned them. Beth said she'd been taking a bath. Mary had been out buying decorations for the birthday party. And Erica was watching a tutorial. She wanted to have the best Halloween makeup. Which sister took the candies? Mary. She said she had bought some birthday decorations, but it was a Halloween party. Peter came back home in the middle of the working day because he had left his cell phone in the apartment. In the living room, he saw his roommate Brian lying on the couch unconscious. A paramedic was standing next to him. He said that Brian had been poisoned. Fortunately, he managed to call an ambulance before passing out. Peter took his phone and immediately called the police. The guy said that a fake paramedic had broken into his house and poisoned his roommate. How did Peter figure it out? In front of the house, there's only one car, and it's not an ambulance. On his 50th birthday, Gerald got a weird call from his ex-girlfriend, Debbie. They dated in college when Gerald was 24. Debbie confessed they had a daughter, Vicky. On her 25th birthday, Vicky learned the truth about her real father and ran away from home. Gerald promised Debbie to find Vicky and hired an investigator. Next week, the detective brought 3 young ladies to Gerald's house. Help the man identify his real daughter. This is the 3rd girl. She has red hair, like Gerald, and gray eyes, like Debbie. Walter came to visit his girlfriend Becky at work. She was a barista at a scientific research center. When Walter entered the coffee shop, he saw 2 Beckys quarreling with each other. When they spotted the man, each of them shouted, "Kick her out! She's my evil clone!" Help Walter identify the real Becky. Take a look at the coffee shop logo. The logo on the uniform of the girl standing on the left looks weird. She must be the clone. Serena is a private investigator. This year, she decided to spend her vacation at a fancy ski resort. Serena arrives at the main gates and takes a look at the entrance. Then, she turns around to tip her taxi driver. After that, she returns to the gates and spots 3 changes. Can you also see them? Here they are. Serena enters the hotel. 3 porters offer to carry her bags. But one of them cannot help Serena with her luggage. Can you guess who and why? The guy in the middle has transparent hands that go through the walls. He's a ghost. So it's unlikely he'll be able to carry Serena's physical baggage. Serena approaches the reception desk. She's checking in along with 3 other people.
Hello.
Serena takes a look at her passports and immediately spots the fake one. What about you? The second guy's picture is black and white, but it's not a crime. The 3rd lady's document also looks fine, but the picture of the First Lady has snow-capped mountains in the background. No matter what country she's from, the background in the passport photo should be plain. So this ID is fake.
Yeah.
Finally, Serena receives a key card for her room. She goes there right away, but unfortunately, the door doesn't open. Serena returns to the reception to complain. She sees another lady complaining about the very same thing. Can you guess what's going on here? Remember the room number on Serena's key? It's 981. If we turn this number upside down, we'll get 186. The manager confused these two keys. The ladies should simply exchange the keys, and the incident will be over.
Okay.
Finally, Serena enters her fancy suite. She takes a couple of pictures to send them to her friend. Can you find 10 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here are all 10 differences. Serena unpacked her bags to go skiing. Oh no! She forgot her hat at home. Serena goes to the local winter sports store to purchase a new hat. Which items don't belong here? This toy robot, high heel sandals, and a plastic pyramid shouldn't be here. After shopping, Serena decides to visit the local bakery. Can you spot any extra items here? This can of pet food and a dog bowl doesn't belong here, as well as this cat tree.
Ah.
Finally, Serena is in her ski suit. She's riding in a cable car to the top of the mountain with other resort guests. Can you spot the one who hasn't paid for the lift? I bet this little mouse didn't pay for the ride. The fire alarm wakes Serena up in the middle of the night. One of the cottages on the territory of the ski resort caught fire.
Oh no.
Luckily, all the guests and staff members are safe. Serena finds 3 suspects. One of these people started the fire for sure. Can you guess who? It's the guy in the bathrobe. He's hiding a bottle of fire starter liquid in his pocket.
Oh my god.
In the morning, Serena goes to the breakfast buffet. There are 4 croissants on the tray. One of them is made of plastic.
Oh.
Can you spot which one? Someone has bitten off the first croissant, so it's probably real. The third croissant was a little burnt, so it's real dough. Take a closer look at the 4th croissant. Some chocolate leaked out of it onto the plate, so it must be real too. Therefore, only the 2nd croissant can be plastic.
Oh.
Serena starts her breakfast. A young lady named Maya is eating with her husband, not far from Serena's table. Suddenly, Maya gets sick and faints.
my God.
Her husband calls doctors and they arrive immediately. They conclude that Maya has eaten something poisonous. The husband says, "It's impossible. My wife didn't eat or drink anything today except for the breakfast on this table. I ate it too, and I feel fine." The doctors test the food, and surprisingly, it's perfectly fine.
Oh.
Serena has already cracked this mystery. What about you? The poison was in Maya's lip balm. Serena suspects that Maya's husband poisoned her, so she decides to follow him to find some evidence. He enters his hotel room for a moment and then leaves. Serena sneaks into the room. She finds nothing suspicious except a hotel notebook. Someone tore out exactly 1 page from it. Fortunately, the writer pressed the pen very hard and left traces on the next page. Serena shades the paper with a pencil and reveals the following text. Can you help her decode this message? If we read this text backwards, we'll get Maya is in the hospital. Finish the job.
Oh my god.
Serena rushes to the hospital to get ahead of the criminal. She enters Maya's room and faces 4 clowns. One of them is the criminal, and the rest are just actors who perform all over the hospital to uplift the patients. Can you spot the imposter? The guy with the red bow is the criminal. He sneaked it from the decorations in this room because he was rushing to disguise himself.
Oh.
Serena calls the hospital guards to arrest the imposter, but he pushes everyone away and escapes through the back door. Serena follows him and ends up in the parking lot. The criminal is hiding in one of these cars.
Come to me.
Can you find him? These 3 single cars seem empty and they don't have any signs of break-in. Meanwhile, someone is moving in the back of this pickup truck. Busted! The police arrest the criminal and Maya's husband. Meanwhile, Serena returns to the hotel late at night to get some rest. Oh no! Her room is a mess! Someone clearly rummaged through her things.
What's this?
In the morning, Serena questions 3 suspects. The cleaning lady says, "Yesterday afternoon, I changed your bed sheets, washed coffee stains off the carpet, and left." The manager says, "I sent a repairman to fix the sink in your bathroom, but I myself didn't enter." The repairman says, "Last night I visited your room to fix the sink. Your stuff was all over the place, but I just thought you were a messy person." Who's lying? The cleaning lady. She said she had removed the coffee stains from the carpet, but they're still here. Serena lands on a chair in the hotel lounge to sign a stack of postcards for her friends. Suddenly, she smells hot chocolate from the cafeteria. She goes there to order a cup for herself. In a couple of minutes, Serena returns to her chair. Oh no! The postcards are gone. She questions 3 people nearby. Mike says, "I was reading a book all the time, so I didn't look around." Richard says, "I was taking pictures of my girlfriend Stella. You can take a look if you don't believe me." And Stella says, "Richard is telling the truth. I was posing for the camera. Why would I pay attention to your stuff?" After hearing their stories, Serena knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Richard's pictures. Stella is in front of a fireplace. If we zoom in, we'll see the postcards in the fire. These liars use them to make the flame burn brighter and look better in the pictures.
What?
Richard apologizes and buys a new stack of postcards for Serena. She grabs one of them and writes the following rebus on it. Can you crack the meaning of this message? To infinity and beyond. Serena is having small talk with Mike. She asks about his hobbies. Instead of answering, Mike draws the following rebus. Can you crack it? He likes to swim underwater. Serena says, "I see you like puzzles. Crack my riddle and I'll get you a huge cup of hot chocolate." Mike agrees. Here's the riddle. The task is to replace the question mark with the correct letter. The letters imply the last letter of the sum of these numbers. 3 times 6 is 18, so the answer is N. 3 times 7 is 21, so the answer is E. And so on. 3 times 0 is 0. That's why we should replace the question mark with 0.
Imagine you are being interviewed for a job opening at one of the world's largest companies. I'm talking about Google, Microsoft, or even Elon Musk's SpaceX. But to get your dream job, you have to pass a very tricky entry exam. I've gathered some of the questions that are actually used in these tests, so put on your thinking hat and don't settle for less than 100%. Good luck. We'll start out easy. The first riddle you need to solve is the 2-jug riddle. Here's the drill. Your mother asks you to measure 4 cups of orange juice using 2 jugs. The thing is, you have a 20-cup jug and a 36-cup jug. How can you do it? You need to start by pouring the orange juice into the smaller jug. Then, pour all the juice from that jug into the 36-cup jug. This way, the empty space from the big jug would give you 16 cups. After doing that, you can fill the 20-cup jug using more fresh juice and pour that liquid into the 36-cup jug. This way, you'll fill the entire 36-cup jug. And what is left in the smaller jug is the 4 cups of juice your mom asked for. Clever, huh? Moving on to the second round. Say your room has 3 switches, and one of these switches is for the fan in the room next door. You cannot see whether the fan is on or off unless you come out of your room. Got that? Okay, so I need you to figure out what's the minimum amount of times you need to go inside the room next door to identify the correct switch that turns on the fan. This is a little bit tricky, but here's the solution. The minimum amount of times you can go inside the room next door and still figure out the answer is 1. Imagine you turned on the first switch in your bedroom and left it on for a bit. As soon as you turn it off, you quickly turn on the second switch and run to the room next door. If the fan is rotating slowly and is about to stop, that means that the first switch is the one that controls the fan. If the fan is running, then the second switch is the correct one. And if the fan isn't moving at all, then it was the third switch all along. Did you manage to crack this one? Hey, nobody said this was going to be easy. It's a mock job interview for a top-notch company after all. The third round is even trickier than the one before. An interviewer might ask you to solve this riddle to understand your pattern-finding capabilities. Let's say you were asked to watch a 6-lane car track for the day. Your job is to spot the 4 fastest cars out of 36. How many races would you conduct to find that out? Here's what you could do. Conduct 6 different car races, grouping 6 cars per race. After you determine the winner of each of these races, you conduct another race with the 6 finalists. The winner of this race will be determined as the fastest vehicle of all. Then just place the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th cars according to how they performed in the last race. By the end of 7 races, you'll have figured out the 4 fastest cars out of 36. Good for you if you figured this one out. For this next riddle, you need to think logically and mathematically. A queen needs to hire a worker for 7 days to do a job for her. The queen pays in gold bars, but she must pay the worker every day at the end of his shift. If the queen is only able to make a maximum of 2 cuts in the gold bar, how can she pay the worker the correct amount of 1/7 of the gold bar at the end of each shift? Let's see how this can work out. The queen makes 2 cuts in the bar, dividing it into 3 pieces. The first piece is 1/7 of the bar, the second piece is 2/7 of the bar, and the third one is 4/7 of the bar. After the first day of work, the queen gives the worker 1/7 of the bar as payment. On the next day, she gives him 2/7 of the bar, and asks for the 1/7 piece in return. At the end of the third day, she gives the worker the smallest piece again. This way, he has a total of 3/7 of the gold bar on his hands. Then, after the 4th day, the queen takes away the first 2 pieces and gives the man 4/7 of the bar. At the end of day 5, she gives the worker 1/7 of the bar again. And at the end of day 6, she gives the worker 2/7 of the bar and gets the 1/7 piece back. On day 7, she pays him with the final 1/7 piece, and the deal is completed. Ready for the last round of the first level? If you've answered everything correctly so far, I dare to say you are a part of a very special group of people. Good luck with this next one. It will determine whether you'll move on to the second level. 2 buses are driving toward each other at a speed of 40 miles per hour. They're separated by a distance of 40 miles. A bird is flying to and fro, landing on bus 1 and then on bus 2 at a speed of 50 miles per hour. By the time the buses come across each other, how many miles will the little bird have flown? Math lovers, this one's for you. The first thing we need to find out is the time it would take for the buses to meet. To find that out, we should divide the distance between the buses by the combined speed of both vehicles. If they're both driving at 40 miles per hour, then their combined speed is 80 miles per hour. Since the distance between them is 40 miles, we divide 40 by 80. This will give us 0.5 hours or 30 minutes. To figure out the total distance traveled by the bird, we multiply the speed of the bird by the time it will take the buses to meet. And this would give us 50 times 0.5, so the correct answer is 25 miles. Phew, I'm tired just thinking of that little bird flying all those miles. Hey, if you've aced this test so far, congratulations. You've just unlocked level 2. The riddles will get more and more difficult, so keep your mind sharp. A tortoise is currently at the bottom of a 210 feet hill and is trying to reach the top. Every hour, the tortoise climbs 15 feet and slips down 1 foot. How long will it take the tortoise to reach the top of the hill? Here's the thinking behind this riddle. Every hour, our tortoise buddy climbs a total of 14 feet, right? Since it climbs 15 and slides down 1 foot. According to this, it will take the tortoise 15 hours to get to the top of that cliff, since 15 multiplied by 14 equals 210. This wasn't too bad, huh? Questions such as these ones allow interviewers to test your problem-solving abilities regarding numbers. You know, if you want to work at a space company, you should probably be very, and I mean very, good with numbers. This next riddle is one of Elon Musk's personal favorites. It's short, yet complicated. If anyone here dreams of becoming an employee at SpaceX, you better get this one right. Imagine you're standing on the surface of Earth. You walk 1 mile south, 1 mile west, and 1 mile north. You end up exactly where you started. Where are you? If you answered the North Pole, then you got it right. But the riddle doesn't stop here. If you weren't at the North Pole, where else could you be given the exact same instructions? Yup, the South Pole. Here's how this works. This riddle presumes that the world is a perfect sphere. And if that were the case, the only place where you could walk 1 mile south, west, and north, and end up in the same place is at one of the poles. Got it? To get to level 3, you have to answer this riddle correctly. There are 2 strings in a room. All you know is that each string takes exactly 1 hour to burn. Your task is to time exactly 45 minutes, using the strings as your only source to find out the time. How can you do it? Here's how it goes. You should light both ends of the first string and one end of the second string. In 30 minutes, the first string would have burnt completely because it's burning twice as fast with both ends on fire. Then, you should light the second end of the second string. The second string would still have 30 minutes left to burn, but by lighting its other end, the rope will burn twice as fast, aka in 15 minutes. Voila! You've timed 45 minutes without the help of any clock whatsoever. Hey, smarty pants! You've just made it to level 3. If I were the interviewer, I would probably give you the job already. But just for the sake of it, be sure to answer everything correctly, okay? These final questions are way more job specific. As all questions in this video, they were used in real job interviews. So we're basically training you to ace your interviews. For example, if you were applying for a position at JP Morgan, this is the type of question you would have to answer. How many streetlights are there in New York City? Can you figure out the number before the time runs out? As impossible as this might sound to guess the answer without a Google search, what JP Morgan wants to test is your estimating abilities. Here's the logic. New York City boroughs have an ordered urban grid, so your first task would be to estimate the number of horizontal and vertical blocks in each borough. Then, estimate the number of streetlights each block may have. Multiply that number by 5 since New York City is made out of 5 boroughs. And then you'll have your number. If it's somewhere close to 300,000, then you got it right. If you were applying for a position at a healthcare company, you'd be faced with this fruity riddle. An apple costs 40 cents, a banana costs 60 cents, and a grapefruit costs 80 cents. How much does a pear cost? Yikes. I had to read it a few times before getting any idea of what to do with it. The key to answering this riddle is to focus on the vowels. If you charge 20 cents per vowel, the two-vowel word apple will cost 40 cents. By the same logic, the three-vowel banana will cost 60 cents, and the four-vowel grapefruit will be 80 cents. In this scenario, a pear will cost 40 cents, and that's your answer. You've made it to the end of this test. Check your armpits. If you're sweating, that probably means you've done a very good job. To finish off, here's an interesting question a tech company asks their interviewees. How would you describe the internet to someone who has just woken up from a 30-year coma? Different from all the other questions, this one has no right or wrong answer. You might try to compare it with something that existed 30 years ago, for example. Or you might just go into Spielberg mode and describe this near sci-fi world we are living in nowadays. Either way, I hope you've got the job.
Look at this picture. There's something wrong here. Can you figure out what it is? Most wristwatches are made with the crown on the right side. Detective Harris has come to investigate a new case. A car crashed into a restaurant window, smashing it. There are two suspects, Julie and Douglas, but each of them claims it's the other person who did it. Can you figure out who's lying? It's Julie. The tire tracks on the ground belong to her car. At 9 a.m., Ethan got a call from his friend, an owner of a large business. The man said that a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on his desk the evening before, but now it was nowhere to be found. Ethan immediately went there to question his friend's employees. Soon, he had three suspects. Walter said he had spent the previous evening at the movies. Joan had dinner with her friends, and Zachary visited an art gallery. It didn't take Ethan long to understand who was lying. Do you know it too? It was Walter. His ticket isn't torn. It means he didn't enter the movie theater. Look at these prehistoric people. Who is from the future? It's one of the guys carrying water. He's holding a flashlight. Cheryl was reading a book, but she was careless and accidentally tore out pages 7, 8, 100, 101, 333, and 334. How many pages will she have to fix? Just 4. 7 and 8, as well as 333 and 334, are different sides of one page. Olivia called the police. She told them someone had broken into her house, tied her up, and taken all her money and valuables. When the officers arrived, the entrance door was open, and Olivia was indeed tied to a chair. And still, the detectives didn't believe her story. Why? If the girl was tied, how did she manage to call the police? Gemma returned from Asia and brought a precious porcelain figurine. She organized a party and invited all her friends to tell them about her journey. They had a great time, but after her friends left, the woman realized the figurine had disappeared.
Oh no!
She called the police and showed them the photos she had taken at the party. One of the officers immediately realized who had stolen the figurine. Do you understand it too? It was Emma. She hid the figurine under her hat. Look at these 4 matchstick patterns. Which one is different from the rest? It's pattern number 3. In all others, you can find 2 rectangles, but this one forms just one. One scientist needed volunteers for his experiments, and 2 friends, William and Oliver, needed money. And since the scientists promised the experiments were going to be harmless, they agreed to participate. But in reality, the scientist planned to test the volunteers' reaction to different poisons. First, he trapped the guys in his lab. Then he separated them and locked them in different rooms. William and Oliver could only escape if they joined their efforts. Unfortunately, the scientist was extremely cautious. The guys didn't see each other. One of them could only use the bathroom only in the evening, and the other only in the morning. And still, in a couple of days, the guys managed to get away. How did they do it? They wrote messages to each other on the steamed-up mirror in the bathroom with their fingers. They could read the messages later by breathing on the mirror. I shave, cut, and wash several times a day, but I still have more hair than you can imagine. Who am I? I'm a barber. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his gas tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and one more customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $5.05. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. Why did he do it? The cash register showed 1835, but the cashier said 505, which looks like SOS. Look at these emojis. How sharp is your vision? Can you spot the girl? Right you are. Here she is, on the left. Can you find all 6 Ys in this picture? Here they are. Good job. You take it and throw away its outside. Then you cook the inside. Then you eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it? You've just eaten corn on the cob. Marcus woke up in a dark basement with just one candle burning on the table. He saw 3 doors in one of the walls and 3 keys lying on the table. How many attempts did the guy need to figure out the key for each door? He needed 6 attempts at the most. 3 of them for the first key, 2 attempts for the second key and 2 remaining doors, and just 1 attempt for the last key. But if Marcus is extremely lucky, he might just need 3 attempts. Look at these words. One of them is odd. Can you figure out which one? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's the word fourth. It should be spelled as fourth. Look at this picture attentively. What's wrong with it? There are no shadows here. Larry's mother asked the guy to do some grocery shopping. She gave him a shopping list and her bank card. But the woman knew her son was very absent-minded. That's why she gave Larry a small note in case he forgot the card's PIN number. When the guy was at the register, he realized he had indeed forgotten the PIN. Larry pulled the note out of his pocket and immediately remembered the PIN. Can you figure out what it was if the note had a fly, a cat, a person, and a snake drawn on it? The pin was 6420. Larry just had to count the number of legs of each creature. What is the missing number? It's 78. When read upside down, those numbers are 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, and 91. When someone robbed a bank in a small town on a snowy Monday, the police have 4 suspects. But all these people claim they've been at home all day long. Look at their homes and try to figure out who's lying. It's Rick. He returned home only recently. He parked his car near the house after the snow had already built up on his driveway. You need to move only 2 matchsticks to get 2 squares. How can you do it? That's how you can get 2 squares. Which of these clocks is the odd one out? It's clock C. On its face, 13 has taken the place of 12. Thomas loved asking his friends to solve all kinds of funny riddles. If they answered correctly, he helped them with whatever they had problems with. One day, Daniel came to Thomas and asked for help with his math exam. He knew the rules though. He had to solve one riddle first. "What kind of running leads to walking?" Thomas asked. Do you know the correct answer? Daniel said, "Running out of gas." And he was right. But helping your friend with exam preparation is a difficult task. That's why Thomas asked Daniel to solve one more riddle. A woman drove from Seattle to Los Angeles. It took her 2 days to get to her destination. That's when she discovered one of her tires was punctured. How did she manage to get to Los Angeles? Daniel cracked this riddle. Can you do the same? The punctured tire was the spare one. Detective Parkson was working on a tricky case. One day, he vanished. His colleagues found an encrypted note on his desk. The officers knew Parkson had 3 suspects: Milana, Susan, and Emily. Who had some information about the detective's disappearance? After some time, one of the police officers cracked the code. D plus 1 equals E. L plus 1 equals M, and so on. It was Emily who knew where the detective was. Aaron's enemies kept the guy in a tower that was 150 feet high. Aaron's friends managed to have a pair of scissors and a rope delivered to the man. Unfortunately, the rope was just 75 feet long. And still, Aaron managed to escape. It's known for sure that he cut the rope in the middle. But then what? The guy did cut the rope in the middle. Not across, but along. He tied the 2 parts of the rope together and got down to the ground. Mike pointed at a young woman in the street and said, "She's the daughter of my grandfather's only son." Is the woman related to Mike? She's his sister. Detective Jackson was walking along the street when he heard some noise. He ran to see what had happened. It turned out that some man had grabbed an elderly lady's bag and sprinted away. The detective ran in the direction witnesses showed him. After he turned the corner, he saw 3 doors. He knocked on the first one. The apartment owner, Patrick, opened the door. The man told the detective he'd just returned from a long run. Another man, Jerry, opened the door. He said he'd been playing basketball behind the house. The third apartment belonged to Raymond, a musician. He had just finished composing a new piece of music. After talking to all these people, Detective Jackson understood who the thief was. Do you know it too? The thief is Jerry. He claimed he'd been playing basketball, but he was holding a football while talking to the detective. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime, so Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th, so the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old, yet she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asked, "What day of the week is today?" No one knew. The father said, "I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday." The mother said, "And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday." And Adele, an older sister, said, "Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday." What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, "Lion's Den." On the second door, there was a sign saying, "Mountaintop." On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing.
No!
They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, "I was reading." The maid said, "I was dusting the corners in the house." The chef said, "I was baking an apple pie." Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rosebush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel. He hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James. He's cooking in the direct sun and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa, look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. So it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth, and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters. The evening before his girlfriend's birthday, Kevin arrived at her office quite late to decorate her desk. He pretended to be a pizza delivery guy to get past the security, but when Kevin finished with the decorations, he realized that the building had already been closed and all the guards had left. Kevin found a locker with several tangled wires. Help the guy out. If he just opens the door, the alarm will go off and the police will arrive immediately. One wire turns off the alarm, another is responsible for fire detectors, and the third one turns off the cameras. Which wire should Kevin cut? The green one. Can you figure out what animal is hiding behind this pattern? That's right, it's a dog. Now, let's make this task a bit more complicated. What animal is hiding here? That's right, it's a panda. Police officers are chasing a thief who has just robbed a jewelry store, but he has managed to hide in a women's clothing store and put on a female outfit. Help the officers identify the robber among these women. This elegant lady on the right is wearing the same sneakers as the thief did during his escape. Look at this picture. Can you see any animal? It's a crocodile. Great job. Eric got caught in the rain and decided to hide in an abandoned house. But as soon as he stepped inside, the front door disappeared. A mysterious voice said, "The only way to get out of here is to push open one of these doors." But the first door is covered with dangerous acid. The second door is unbearably hot. If he touches the third door, he'll get an electric shock. Which door should Eric choose? The guy needs to take off his rubber boots and put them on his hands. Then he can push the third door. Rubber will protect him from electricity. There are many different animals in this picture, but can you spot identical pairs? This couple of birds, these hares, and the owls. Other creatures don't have identical twins. Look at this picture very attentively. What do you see? Is it a spiral or several concentric circles? These are black and white concentric circles. You probably saw a spiral, but this is just an optical illusion. Try to squint your eyes or move your finger around any of the circles. Daniel came home after work and realized his house had been burgled. The police suggested that the robbery probably took place around lunchtime. The officers questioned 4 ladies who lived next door. All of them told the police that they had had a road trip together. They had to stop to change a flat tire on their way back from another city, so they got home late at night. But then, the police officer decided to interrogate the ladies separately in different rooms. They heard their answers and arrested them immediately. What question did the officers ask? The women said they had to deal with a flat tire on their way home. When the officers questioned each of them separately, they asked each lady which tire had been damaged, and their answers didn't match. Supermarket manager Mike was counting daily revenue late at night. Suddenly, the fluorescent lamp above his head began to blink. Mike climbed on a chair to fix it. But when he touched the lamp, he burned his hand, fell from the chair, and lost consciousness for a while. When he came around, the guy noticed that all the money had been stolen. He called the police and told them his story, but when a police officer arrived, he arrested Mike. Why? Unlike other light bulbs, fluorescent lamps don't heat up. Mike couldn't burn his hand. This means he's lying. Let's test your spatial reasoning. Look at this pyramid. Can you figure out how it looks from above? The third option is correct. What about this figure? The second image is the correct one. Now look at this colorful cube. How does it look from above? The fourth variant is correct. Jennifer worked as a manager in a large supermarket. One morning, she received a strange text message. "There's a thief among your customers. Beware." Jennifer ran out of her office and saw 3 people who looked suspicious. Can you find a thief among them? It's this guy. If his arm was really broken, he wouldn't be able to carry a basket. Take a look at this pattern. Can you find 2 identical butterflies? They're over there. Relax and take a look at these pictures. Choose the lighthouse you like most. This simple test will help you discover some of your curious personality traits. If you've chosen the first lighthouse, you're an optimist and a very strong-willed person with a warrior mindset. You manifest your best qualities during hard times. You have both confidence and power, and generously share your light with those around you. The second choice is the choice of warm and lighthearted individuals. People feel comfortable and safe around you. You're so cute that it's simply impossible to stay angry at you. You overcome difficulties using the power of love. You believe in yourself and in other people, and they feel your support even from a distance. If you've picked the third lighthouse, you're a very grounded and practical person. You rely on your own strength and prefer hard and honest work. But keep in mind that asking for help is not a crime. And if you like the fourth lighthouse, you're a very passionate and creative person. Your emotional intelligence is exceptionally high. Sometimes the world around you can make you feel overwhelmed. Expressing your emotions through journaling and art will help you reach inner balance. Can you find two similar dogs? Here they are. Take a look at these pictures and choose your favorite moon. If you've chosen moon number 1, you're a very independent person. You might feel guilty when you ask for help. That's why you prefer solving problems on your own. But does it make you happy and fulfilled? If you've opted for moon number 2, you live in the moment and chase joy and adventure. But deep down, you might be suppressing the desire for a stable life. Maybe it's time to admit that you're tired of your lifestyle and accept your true needs. If your choice is number 3, you're a natural leader. You're talented, smart, and passionate. Unfortunately, subconsciously, you try to block your desire for freedom and independence. It might help if you ask yourself, what responsibilities really bring me joy? And the fourth option is the choice of a very picky person. You're very smart and loyal, but you're not ready to open your heart to anyone. People might think that you're very vulnerable and shy. Maybe it's time to overcome your trust issues and allow yourself to be loved. This pattern is pretty tricky. Can you spot any numbers? It's 82,175. Can you spot any numbers hidden in these symbols? That's right, it's 95,738. Rachel was lying on the bank of a mountain river. Suddenly, a stranger ran up to her and grabbed her bag. Then he jumped into the water and disappeared. Rachel couldn't swim, so she called a police officer. When Rachel finished telling her story, the thief was already on the other side of the river. But the officer called Rachel a liar. Why? Mountain rivers are very fast. The stream would have carried the thief much further down the river. Look at this picture very attentively and find two identical giraffes. Here they are. Can you find the correct shadow? It's over there. Look at these pictures very attentively. Can you spot 5 differences? Their gloves are different, as well as their skates. The snowman on the left doesn't have a pom-pom on its hat. Their scarves have a bit different patterns. And finally, the snowman on the left has 2 buttons, while the guy on the right only has 1. A dangerous criminal ran away from the police. The detective saw him enter a scientific research center and followed him. They found only 3 people inside the building. All three claim to be scientists working on a secret research project. Look at these people. Can you figure out which one is the criminal? Each of these scientists has a badge with a photo on their lab coat, and only this guy's photo doesn't match his face, so he's probably the criminal. A strange accident happened during the Olympic Games. Unknown sources claimed that instead of a real athlete, one of the countries had sent a robot to the running competition. Take a look at these two athletes' shoe prints. Can you figure out which prints belong to a robot? The third runner is the robot, only his footsteps are perfectly symmetrical. Want to know the future? These questions will help you reveal some clues. Pick your cards and don't forget to count your score. The results are waiting at the end of this video. Here's the first question. Pick a door. Door A brings 1 star to your score. If you choose door B, add 4 points to your basket. Option C costs 2 stars. D brings you 3 points. What would you want the most out of these options? Hit the jackpot? Have a date with your celebrity crush? Get some sleep? Become a Superman and save the world? Card A brings 3 stars to your score. If you chose B, add 2 points to your basket. Card C costs 1 star. Option D brings you 4 points. Pick an open road that you like the most. The mountain highway brings you 3 stars. If you chose the desert, add 4 points to your score. Sunrise Highway costs 2 stars. The road through the rainforest brings you 1 point. How often do you daydream about your future? Every 5 seconds? Sometimes. Never. Future? I don't even know this word. Option A adds 1 star to your score. B brings you 2 points. If your choice is C, it's worth 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Which picture inspires you the most? Northern Lights? Rainy forest? Sakura in blossom? Sunset on a wild beach? If your choice is option A, add 4 stars to your basket. Option B is worth 3 stars. Option C brings you 2 points. And option D is worth 1 star. What's your idea of a perfect vacation? Hiking in the woods by myself? I love to be alone. Luxury spa with my besties, because we're worth it. Family gathering in a country house. I can't imagine my life without them. Extreme sports and risky adventures. Card A brings you 2 stars. Card B adds 3 points to your score. If you chose C, add 1 star to your basket. Option D brings you 4 points. Are you worried about your future? Sometimes I like to have a plan B. Never. I live in the moment. Always, I try to control everything. Nope, I spend all my time regretting my past. If you picked option A, add 3 stars to your score. Option B brings you 4 points. Option C is worth 1 star. If D is your choice, it brings you 2 points. What's your most common emotion? Peace, enthusiasm, joy, anxiety. Option A brings 3 stars to your score. If you chose B, add 4 points to your basket. Option C brings you 1 point. And option D is worth 2 stars. What is your favorite activity? Reading books and watching movies. Partying with friends and meeting new people. Studying and developing new skills. Creating art and sharing content. If you picked option A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 4 points. Option C is worth 3 points. Option D brings you 2 points. How many of your life goals have you already accomplished? 0. My to-do list for this life is 50% completed. All of them. I want it, I got it. I don't set any goals. The universe knows better. If you chose A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 2 points. C is worth 3 points. Option D brings you 4 points. How would you describe your social life? Social what? I have a couple of loyal friends. Every human being is my friend. My friend circle is always changing. Card A adds 2 stars to your score. If you picked option B, take 1 star. Did you pick option C? Award yourself with 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. If you could get any career right now, what would you choose? Actor. I love to be the center of attention. Doctor. I want to help others. Architect. I like to create spaces. Astronaut. I'd love to discover new worlds. If you chose A, add 2 stars to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. C costs 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Pick a lady you like the most. If you picked Lady A, grab 2 points. Option B adds 1 star to your score. Option C brings you 3 stars. And answer D brings you 4 points. How are you preparing for your future? I create beautiful wish boards. I just talk about it with my friends. Thinking and finding solutions to my current issues. I take it step by step every day. If you picked option A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 2 points. 3 will cost 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. What is your biggest dream? A loving relationship? Money and a luxurious lifestyle? Pursuing my true passion? Making someone special truly happy? If you chose A, add 2 stars to your score. Option B brings you 3 points. C costs 4 stars. And if your choice was option D, you get 1 point. Do you believe in yourself? Kinda. Yes, all the time. Nope, I'm not exactly perfect, bro. I prefer to take action and not think about that. If you chose A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 3 points. Option C is worth 2 stars. Option D is worth 3 points. Do your parents support you? Nope, I'm on my own in this world. Not that much, they got their own lives. Yes, my happiness means everything for them. Just a little when I ask for help. If you chose A, add 3 stars to your score. Option B brings you 4 points. Option C costs 1 star. Finally, Option D brings you 2 points. Pick a quote that you like the most. Time is money. Benjamin Franklin. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Albert Hubbard. If you want to be happy, be Leo Tolstoy. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. Lao Tzu. Option A adds 3 stars to your score. Option B brings you 2 points. If you chose C, take 1 star. Option D brings you 3 points. Which sounds most like you? Friendly, cool, popular. Serious, shy, reliable. Calm, wise, peaceful. Drama queen. Card A adds 2 stars to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. If you chose C, grab 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Which plant do you like the most? Sunflowers always warm my heart. Cactus, we have a lot in common. Orchids, I love their sophisticated beauty. Roses, what could be better than the classics? Card A adds 4 stars to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. If you chose C, 3 stars are coming your way. Those who went for D get 2 points. Choose an emoji. Laughing, shy, poker face, sunglasses. A adds 1 star to your score. B brings you 2 points. Option C adds 4 stars to your score. D brings you 3 points. What would you choose? Get rich but never find true love? Find true love but never get rich. I'm already rich. Where's my soulmate? I don't play these games, bro. Card A adds 3 points to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. If you chose C, grab 2 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Ready for the results? Make sure you sum up your score correctly. Let's go! 22 to 35 points. Your future is about having a beautiful partnership. You'll make it with the right person who shares your life goals and values. Together, you'll build the life of your dreams step by step. This journey will bring joy and satisfaction every day. 35 to 50 points. Your future will force you to reconsider your idea of love. You'll meet your true soulmate when you least expect it. Your heart will recognize them at first. This person will inspire you to become a better version of yourself every day. This experience will be beautiful. 50 to 65 points. Congratulations! Your future is about having your dream career. You're pretty determined, and you can make it if you really want it. Stay focused and know that the stars are on your side. You may even outgrow your original dream and switch to building a community of like-minded people to share your experience and give them a sense of purpose. 65 to 88 points. Your future is about to surprise you. The chances to make your biggest dreams come true are very high. Random conversation, a new job offer, or a party invitation can turn your entire life upside down in a good way. So don't settle for compromises and go for the new opportunities. Remember that wishes tend to come true in unexpected ways, so keep your eyes open.
Uh-oh, Tommy was exploring old caves outside the city when he got trapped in a mysterious dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but only one of them was safe. Behind the first door, a fire was raging. Behind the second door, there was acid rain, which could melt any substance within seconds. Behind the third door, there was a huge brown bear that hadn't eaten for 2 years. Which way should Tommy choose? Tommy should choose the third way. No animal can go for 2 years without food and survive. Barely. It was a stormy day, and it had been raining for several hours straight. A car accident happened in a tunnel. The yellow car crashed into the red one. The driver of the yellow car said it had been raining so heavily he hadn't seen anything, so the accident wasn't totally his fault. But the police asked the man to stop lying and claimed it was all his fault. Why? The accident happened in the tunnel. It couldn't be raining there. Mrs. McAdams, who was having a day off with her friends, came back home in the middle of the day to change her clothes. There, she found out that her daughter, Eveline, who she'd grounded, wasn't at home. Mrs. McAdams got angry and texted Eveline, asking where she was. Eveline texted her back, saying she was at school. The girl even attached a picture of the classroom. Mrs. McAdams didn't believe her daughter and told her to come home immediately. How did she understand Eveline wasn't at school? Look closely at her cell phone. It's Sunday. There's no school on Sundays. Ned works in a club. His job is to check people's ID cards and to not let suspicious people or people younger than 21 years old get inside. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who shouldn't enter the club. The first person is already 21, and nothing else looks suspicious in his ID. The second girl seems alright too. It's written that Brielle was born on September 31st. But such date doesn't exist. Her ID must be fake. Mrs. Cabell is the owner of a small company producing expensive designer cups. On Friday, when the working week was finally over, she got a call from her bank. The woman found out that someone had stolen all the money she had saved. Mrs. Cabell realized it must have been one of her workers, so she asked each of them what they had been doing that day. Sloan, a sales manager, said she had been talking to their clients and looking for new ones. Atticus, a potter, said he always made 1 cup a day, and he showed all the cups he had done that week. Sierra, a designer, said she had been working, but she also admitted she hadn't been really productive that day because of some family issues. Who lied? Atticus. There are 5 working days in a regular week. The man said he made 1 mug a day, but he only showed 4 mugs. It means he missed 1 day of work. Lennox and Finn were friends living in the same college dorm. One day, Lennox reported that something had happened to his friend. He said Finn hadn't left his room all day. He also never responded to any of Lennox's texts. In the evening, Lennox started to worry and knocked on Finn's door, but the guy didn't answer. Lennox peeked through the keyhole and saw that his friend was lying on the floor, so he called the police. After that, Lennox got arrested. Why? Lennox has a bandage on his right eye, but the keyhole is located in such a way that it's only possible to look inside with the right eye. It means the guy couldn't do it. He simply knew what had happened. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. For about the 20th time. Hey, don't ask. Anyway, she found the witch's house, walked in, said hi, petted the cat, and asked the witch to show her the way home. But the witch had a problem. She was learning a new spell and accidentally did something strange to her chairs. On the bright side, she now had a riddle for Esme to solve. The witch had 20 chairs. Now, some of the chairs only had 2 legs, and half of the rest had no legs at all. How many legs did all these 20 chairs have in total? We know that some of the chairs have, on average, 2 legs per chair. The rest of them have either 4 legs or no legs at all. And since half of the rest have no legs and the other half have 4, together they have 2 legs per chair. So there are exactly 40 legs. Mr. Tucker was a businessman. He wanted to find an interesting hobby to impress people. He chose art, even though he knew nothing about it. Still, he kept buying paintings and even owned a couple of famous masterpieces. He liked to invite his potential business partners over to show off his collection. One day, his guest was Miss Geneva Darby, a young lady who owned a jewelry business. As always, Mr. Tucker boasted about his collection, but Miss Darby wasn't impressed. Why? Look closer at this supposedly 16th century painting. There are a couple of cars on the road, but there were no cars at that time, so the painting must be fake. Evie and Kai were planning to go on a bike tour with their friends. Unfortunately, Evie didn't feel well, so she canceled on her friends and asked Kai to stay with her. Kai was disappointed but agreed. Evie fell asleep. When she woke up, she already felt better. She offered Kai to ride their bikes a bit, just the two of them. But when they went outside, Evie realized that while she had been sleeping, Kai had been out with the friends without her. How did she understand it? Look, Evie's bike is all wet. It must have been raining while she was asleep. But Kai's bike is dry. It means that he used it and then wiped it off. Or maybe he wasn't even in the area when it was raining. 2 weeks ago, a bank was robbed, but the robber hadn't been found yet. A phone call woke Detective Callum up in the middle of the night. His colleague reported that a farmer had found the money. When the detective arrived, he questioned the farmer. The man said, "I argued with my wife and went outside. That's when I found a bag with money in a cornfield." Detective Callum asked if the farmer had noticed anything suspicious before. The farmer replied, "About 2 weeks ago, before going to bed, I looked out of the window. I saw a man walking through the field. It was a full moon and I could clearly see his silhouette. But there wasn't enough light to notice more details about him." The farmer was arrested. Why? The farmer said it had been a full moon 2 weeks before. But it's impossible. As you see, it's a full moon now. The farmer is lying. But why? Ashley was hurrying to an unplanned business meeting. She asked her boyfriend, Dean, to walk the dog. Dean agreed. But then his friend called and invited him to play a new video game. So the guy decided to skip walking the dog that day and joined his friends. He and Ashley met right outside the house when they both were going back home. Ashley asked what Dean had been doing. The guy said, "I walked the dog and then went to play video games with my friends." Ashley immediately understood he was lying. How did she figure it out? It's winter. Look at the footprints in the snow. There are Ashley's footprints going both ways and Dean's footprints going both ways too. But there are no dog footprints. Mrs. Rivers reported that someone had broken into her house. They stole all the money and jewelry she kept in her living room. Detective Callum arrived to investigate the crime. The room was a mess. It was obvious that someone had been looking for something there. But in the end, the detective concluded that there was no robbery. Mrs. Rivers made the whole thing up. Why did he decide so? Look at this very expensive and fragile tea set lying on the floor. If a criminal had really been there, he wouldn't have cared about the set. It would be smashed after falling down. It seems that when Mrs. Rivers was staging a robbery, she didn't feel like breaking her expensive tea set. Viviana and Malcolm were working outside. Malcolm was repairing the roof, and Viviana was working in the garden. Suddenly, a hammer fell from the roof and hit Viviana on the head. She was taken to a hospital, and the police came to figure out what had happened. When Malcolm told them everything, the police arrested him for staging an accident. Why didn't they believe the guy? Viviana was working right next to the house. She was sitting under the roof. If the hammer had fallen accidentally, it would have slid down the roof and fallen behind the woman's back. It could hit her only if someone threw it at her on purpose. Well, that's not nice.